Well, the next couple of minutes, we'll have the Mastek management join in. That's really not just the stock of the day, it's also the story of the day from a financial market standpoint, because this growth that Mastek has delivered, over 5% constant currency growth in an environment which is so uncertain, has been nothing short of breathtaking, and perhaps that is the reason why the market has handsomely rewarded the stock. In fact, I think we do have the management joining in. As I mentioned, the company has seen an over 5% constant currency growth. Ashank Desai, Vice Chairman and MD of the company, is joining in. Mr. Desai, good afternoon. Great to have you on. You've hit all the high notes and the headlines today with a performance like this in an environment where a lot of the big boys of the IT world have scared the street. First things first, where has this, I think, 5.3% constant currency growth, where exactly has this come from? I know that UK and Europe as a geography has done very well for you, but give us the color, because some of the bigger companies are talking about ramp downs, deal cancellations, deferrals. You've not used much of that commentary.
Yes, thanks for coming here, inviting me on CNBC 18. So, yes, what you say is right. The main growth happened in UK and European markets, and to some extent in the Middle East too. So our business is digital engineering predominantly in UK, and also Oracle implementation, but it's a smaller portion. The digital engineering business is driven certainly by our large government platform sign-up that we have done over last many years. So certainly an investment was going on in terms of getting business in UK. And some of that investment, which we were making in sales and marketing area, in terms of deals, in terms of our value proposition, seem to have paying off now. And some of that impact came in this quarter. So we did much better than last 3 quarters. So some of it is investment. But having said that, as you know, we have 3 pillars of our growth. One is digital engineering, digital transformation business, other is Oracle cloud business, and third is the Salesforce. Now, all of them are that way relatively faster growing sectors. Digital cloud is a faster growing business than non-digital and cloud, and ours being almost more than 90% in that area, in those areas, does help us to keep the traction moving.
Right. Mr. Desai, just to get some clarity, were there any projects of yours which were paused or deferred, and did you face any project cancellation? And if you could provide this answer geography-wise, in US, any project cancelled or deferred, and similarly for UK and Europe and Middle East as well, if you could give us this answer.
Yeah, so Rima, predominant postponements are happening in US. The order books that we, for example, did in Q4, many of them could have come in Q3. The Q2 orders should have come in 2, and some of the quarters, this quarter, the orders got delayed, postponed. So predominance of postponement is happening in US. So that's first. Having said that, I'm not saying there has not been any postponement in Europe too, although we had a very good order book in UK also, but there were few postponement in UK also. Not seen anything much in Middle East. So, as I said, summary is US focused postponement, and mainly the decisions are about how to move ahead. No cancellation. We have not seen any cancellation so far. I think our clients are... Yeah, please.
So no cancellation even in US, right?
No.
Okay. And so how many...
Yes.
And how many projects have gotten postponed or deferred? And have they given an indication that they want to restart the project 3 months down the line? Or is it going to be deferred, say, 12 months down the line? Any indication on when they plan to press the pedal on restarting these projects?
That would really depend from customer to customer, I would guess. But what's really happening is there is obviously the overhang of whatever forecast that is being made about US economy and global economy. So the customers are really looking at doing project in a different way. For example, they could do a project where there can be more components of doing back in India compared to doing it in their country, which will reduce their cost. So that is one part. The second part is they could look at reconfiguring or reprioritizing their project, something that they thought they could do next year, maybe they can relook again. So some of these decisions, which are really internal dynamics, which is taking time. So really difficult to predict. But having said that, we have seen project moving one quarter. That we have definitely seen.
Right. So projects have moved a quarter. The non-US business, the UK and Europe business, just wanted to understand if they can continue to grow at the 10% quarter-on-quarter mark as they have been growing. And you've guided for higher than industry growth. In your sense, what is it that the industry can grow at, and how much higher can you grow beyond that?
You are asking me US growth in the US market or a global market? Couldn't hear you properly.
Global market and also US market, but at the same time, the growth that you have in your non-US market, which is UK and Europe, can that continue at 10% plus?
I would not like to give any guidance along those directions. Some of these executions happen on the order booking that happens in a particular quarter, etc. So, however, we would like to see the growth momentum continuing. I would not like to commit any growth numbers, which is, number like this. However, having said that, we do feel that we would do better than industry growth, at least in some of our countries, regions.
All right. Mr. Desai, on the US market, I think it contributes around 26% of your total revenues, right? What's the strategy to scale that business? What is the mix you're looking at from the US business? Because I think you've hired a couple of top executives out there.
Yeah. So, Nigel, what we have done is we have hired a new president of US.
Yes.
He comes from a big experience of last 25 years or so in various leading IT companies. So that's one thing we have done. Second thing we have done, as you know, and that's not a news, it is a 9-month-old story. We have invested in a Salesforce business.
Mr. Desai, we have got a couple of these highlights. So given the kind of focus that you've done and the Salesforce, the new recruits as well, my question to you is, where do you see this business scaling up? I ask you this because at a time when some of your peers said is a little bit skeptical about scaling up the US business, but you have gotten some big names in there, so you're clearly looking to scale it up. To what level are you looking to scale it up, and what is the outlook out there? Very quickly, sir.
Again, as I said, we do not want to give any specific guidance in US versus UK, etc. But given our portfolio of present business, if you look at, is heavily in the cloud area in terms of Oracle business and Salesforce, which is also related to the same space, we do feel that the investment cuts that are going to happen, if at all they happen, would be lesser in that area, because cloud movement is something that they don't want to postpone. So our hope is that postponement of investment that happens hopefully will be less in the areas that we are presently in. That is the positive, shall we say, hope we have, is all that I can say right now.
So, Mr. Desai, just to get back to that point on growth, yes, you don't give guidance, but you're saying you will grow more than industry. Give us a sense. I mean, if you talk about industry, it depends on companies, right? Now, Infosys is saying between 4% and 7%. So, if you look at your peer set or the average IT services world, what is the average growth rate that you are going with, which you are, of course, saying that you will better? And I wonder if this will be all organic growth, or do you have some acquisitions in mind that could help you beat industry growth this year?
See, acquisitions is something, as you know well, it's very difficult to predict. We always look at acquisitions. As we speak, we look at them. So I would take that out right now. In the sense, I'll keep that aside. And I will talk of business that we have in hand as of now. So we are not doing any calculations that we will do so much acquisition. It may happen, it may not happen. So whatever numbers we are talking are actually our existing organic business, as you call it. Now, I agree that there have been various numbers which are quoted about the industry, and it depends from the company by company and size by size. All those variables are there. And that number itself may change as we move along, depending on the situation as it unfolds over next 3 quarters, sorry. The point I'm making, however, is our hopes are two rather. One, we have made certain investment in people, certain investment in fast-growing business like Salesforce last year, that means year that ended. So those investment in people, sales, marketing, and large, faster opportunistic business, if I may call them, should help us to do better than industry. That is the only hope I have.
So, Mr. Desai, just a quick other word which we didn't touch upon very briefly. What is happening on pricing right now? Obviously, in terms of volumes, you've done pretty okay. But in an environment like this, when clients are a little uncertain, at least in the US, is there a pressure on pricing that you've seen in Q4? Are you expecting that in the remainder of the year?
I didn't see any pricing pressure which I can say had impacted us in terms of our bottom line or new order books. I have not seen that such intensely. Yes, there can always be some contracts here and there where customer may have pressures. The only pressure that we have seen is uncertain decision-making environment, and that continues.
Okay, Mr. Desai, we'll leave it at that. Thank you very much for joining in. Congratulations on a good set of numbers. So that's Mastek. The hope is to grow faster than the industry. They've not seen any project cancellations. There are deals which are getting deferred, they're getting paused, but that's mostly happening in the US region, in the US geography. In Europe, there are fewer projects which are being put on hold right now. That's Mastek for you. The other two IT numbers you should watch today, one is HCL Tech and the other one is Signed. Both numbers post market hours.